Hi there, welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales. Today I'm going to be walking you through your 2026 Intech Sol Dusk. We are just going to start off the back of the unit. If you notice up top, you're pre-mounted and pre-wired for an observation camera. If you'd like to get set up with that, it's just as easy as contacting our parts department. They'd be more than happy to help you out. Also located at the back is going to be your 1.25" receiver here. Just keep it in mind that there is a hitch receiver sticker here telling you that the weight capacity is 175 pounds. So realistically, that's like a dual bike rack. So just keep in mind how much weight you're putting on there. It does add up pretty quickly. Coming around to the driver's side of the unit, you got your hot water service port right there in the back corner. Really the two things you need to worry about, you got this power switch, turning it on and off, which is supplying power to the thermostat inside. And then you got your pressure relief valve, and the only time you really need to worry about that is when it comes time to winterization. Now this is different from your standard tanked water heater, especially if you're doing the winterization yourself. Inside, there's not going to be any bypass valves behind it because it doesn't need to be bypassed. You do run antifreeze through this system. Once you're done the winterization process completely, you're just cracking this pressure relief valve and leaving it cracked open for the duration of winter, so that way during those extremely cold winter months, when antifreeze does start gelling up, it has a place to escape to instead of cracking inside of your coils. Clicking that in place, just making sure that that rubber gasket does go around there properly so you're not burning it at all. And then in this corner, as well as all four corners of the unit, you do have your stabilizer jacks, and the way those work is you're hooking up your 3/4 inch drive tool to the 3/4 inch drive nut, running that foot down to the ground. Once the foot does contact the ground, just giving another 1/8 turn to snug it up. It's going to take any bouncer sway you see we have in the unit right now away. And just an extra note, they are stabilizing jacks, they're not leveling jacks. Please don't try and use them as so, otherwise you do run the risk of bending them. And today, with today's day and age, if you're running them up or down with an impact, that is great. Just keeping in mind how much torque you do put on them. Got your main 30-amp twist lock connection here at the top. You just take a note of that notch there. It lines up with this notch on the bottom side. Once you line those two up, you could press it into place. You get an 1/8 turn to lock it in, and then you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. If you follow that cord back, you do have your standard 30-amp plug-in. Now most campsites should have this, so you plug right on in. But let's say you have the unit at home on the driveway, or your campsite only has 15-amp service, which is your standard household outlet. We do include that park adapter for you. Just keep it in mind whenever you are using it. It's just really to run your fridge and your lights. You're not going to be able to run your air conditioner off of that. To your left here, it is a coax inlet in case you were getting set up with that. And then one more open. This is kind of your water center. You got your fresh water fill, which is going to be how you fill up your fresh tank in case you're out boondocking or you're just at a campsite without water. And then if you're at a site with service, you thread a garden hose in there, turn it on. It's going to pressurize all your lines without the need to run your water pump. It's called the city water connection. The drain for all that is going to be inside. I'll go over that once we do get there. Coming a little bit more further ahead, just keep it in mind this is your furnace exhaust. Whenever your furnace is running, that'll be blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. You got a little solar plug in here in case you had an foldable, portable solar panel. You can plug it into there. It's already 2 wires plugged into your battery box. Now, it's your sewer outlet. This is going to be for your gray and your black. It all goes into one. Taking that cap, twisting it off. Your sewer hose is going to have the same ears. They just click, lock onto so, lock into place. Your sewer hose again has the same ears. You pull that valve, it's going to drain it all out. Just keep it in mind that this is the gray and the black in one, so wearing gloves is going to be probably pretty critical. Opening up this guy, it's going to be where you want to store your sewer hose after your first use. We do have a brand new one located inside the front compartment, which is why it's not in here yet. Again, you got that stabilizer jack in the front. Coming around to the very front of the unit, you got your power tongue jack right at the front. Manual override is underneath that rubber cap. You're just peeling that back. Stick that tool inside of there. You'll be able to run that jack up or down in case it were to fail for whatever reason. And then behind this nice cover here, pop these 2 clips out of the way, pull them out of place. Be careful with this to try not scratch it as you're pulling it out. It is black, it's sensitive to everything. That's nice. You got your 2 propane tanks, pretty standard, just like home. At the front of your regulator, you got this arrow with it pointed this way. You're gonna be drawing off this tank counterclockwise to turn it on like any standard barbecue. Opens up the flow of propane. Now if this tank were to go empty, you could close it off, flip this over to the other side, and you could start running off this tank, especially if you were out getting that one filled up. Now at the front here, there is going to be a cover that goes over top of this window. It's inside that back storage compartment. Essentially, it's going to have a corresponding notch that slides in through that track. Snap buttons all the way around to lock it into place. I always recommend running that cover whenever you're traveling anywhere, even if it's a short distance. It's a massive front window. It takes one little stone to pick up, and it could crack it. It's going to get pretty expensive pretty quick, so just make sure you put that in place whenever you are using it. Entryway door, you got a couple outlets on the outside here, which you can plug into for any sort of reasons. And then in this storage compartment here, it is your storage compartment. You do also have this little garden hose attachment. Locks on here. You got a valve right at the underneath here that you can turn it on and off with, but just keep it in mind, as soon as you do turn it on, it is going to start spewing out water. So if you don't have anything connected on you here, watch your toes. Hopefully you don't get too wet. Standard starter kit, that's where you're going to have your sewer hose, 15-foot water hose, some other miscellaneous goodies, including that 15-amp park adapter. You got the cover inside here as well that I was telling you about, and then just some other goodies, including the top of the griddle, which we left in the box nice for you, just so that it doesn't get damaged in any sort of way. And then in this last storage compartment, lifting this guy up, it's kind of like your exterior kitchen. Pulling down on that red tab, that's going to unlock this tray and allow it to slide out. Pull that guy all the way out. First, you got your griddle. How to hook that up. You're going to come around to this back side here. The propane quick connect line, it's just snapped on to the back of the tray. Run that down. You got the corresponding end right here. Pull the dust cap off. It's very important that you always put the dust cap back into place whenever you're not using it. That way you're not getting any debris inside of there. And then you just pull back like any standard airline, insert the other end, lock it into place, open up the flow of propane, and you'd be good to fire up your griddle like any standard barbecue. Again, if the system isn't purged yet, I am going to go over purging inside. Sometimes it can take a few minutes to get propane coming, but as you see right there, it did. Lights up pretty quickly, just like any standard barbecue, and of course there would be that griddle piece on top. Next, you got your 12-volt little portable cooler. Pretty sweet that they included it. Snap the snap out of place. It's 12-volt, plugs in. Controls for which are over here. Turning the power button on would turn this on. And then inside of here, it's a little cooler. So right now it's plugged in. Now this does have its own battery pack, so you can take this actually right out of its tray, take it to the beach with you. I'm not sure how long the battery lasts. Again, it's going to probably depend on temperature and everything and how much it's having to cool, but it's a great little thing that they included. Again, just snapping it back into place for travel, and then to get this back in, exactly like taking it out, you do have to push down the red tab to unlock it and allow you to push it back into place, of course, after you're removing that quick connect line. Now, for the best part, get inside, opening up that door. You do have to have the door open all the way for the stairs to come down. Pull on the tab that unlocks it, that'll allow your stairs to come down. You do have adjustable feet, so you can have nice and level stairs for your campsite. You're just having to pull the pins and adjust into the corresponding holes. The goals for having this adjusted is to have this black plate as close to the bottom silver catch plate as possible, so that way that door can come in and out without binding it all. Once that's done, you can take a step on inside. First thing you notice off on the left is that fire extinguisher, which is pretty much just like home. Remove the storage strap, pull the pin, and shoot. You got pretty much most of your lights here. You got the main lights, the bedroom lights on their buttons. It's going to turn on the main lights and the bedroom lights. And then, of course, you have all these different accent lightings. It does turn on. They look really cool, especially at night. Taking a step on inside. Right here, you got your seating area. If you were to remove these cushions, underneath this bottom cushion here, there's going to be a little trap door. It's going to give you access into your battery box. I'll just move this out of the way quickly and show you. Again, you're just moving those cushions out of the way. Take this panel, just be careful when you're removing it, not to scratch anything. And you got your battery box located inside of there. You can use this as storage, just keep it in mind whenever you are using it. You're gonna want to be mindful of all this wiring that's in here, not getting anything too close to it. And then everything could go back into place. Now you have it currently set up for your regular dinette eating space. What's really cool is inside this top panel here, you get a second cushion as well as a second little table leg that you can put into place. So if you come down on this side, you'd remove this tabletop out of this footing as well as this main table leg, grab the shorter table leg, put it into place, and then you have that cushion put on top of your table, and you could have a little lounge area, which I thought was pretty neat. Especially if you want to relax, watch a movie inside. All the blinds in the unit are going to work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them. One quick pull will allow them to retract back up. Bunch of different accent reading lights too throughout here. They're just going to be on their own center push buttons. Over in our kind of second kitchen area, you got your microwave, which is pretty much just like home. Down below over here, you got some different monitor panels. So you push the button, it'll tell you the corresponding level, whatever it happens to be, black, gray, all that good stuff. Turning on the water pump switch that does draw to your fresh tank. Tank heater that is for extended camping seasons. Now, unfortunately, our Manitoba winters get much too cold for this to be adequate. Realistically, it's for those 1 to 5 degree ranges. You can turn on the tank heater. It keeps things that little bit warmer. But realistically, just keep it in mind, if you are camping below -0, you do run the risk of things freezing. So be very mindful and careful whenever you are doing so. Same thing goes for the line heaters. Just try and keep those lines warm. To our left, you do get your thermostat for your water heater. Right off the bat, you are locked to 51 degrees Celsius. Now, if that's not hot enough for you, it is a safety feature that's built in. If you push and hold the up button for 5 seconds, it will unlock it and allow you to go up another 5 degrees to 55. But keep it in mind, 55-degree water, it's very hot. You could scald your hands if you leave it under there for too long. There's a reason you have to unlock it to use it. Now, because this system's an on-demand system, it works off of flow. So how you want to set your water temperature is based off of where you find the water the most comfortable with it fully cracked open, without the cold on. They don't want you to have to blend the cold on because it throws off the flow. It could just provide you with some cold spots. So again, just set that water wherever you find it the most comfortable with just the hot on. To our left, you got your stereo, which is pretty much just like home, except you have zone A and zone B. Zone A is going to be your main front set of speakers, and zone B is going to be hooked up to the speakers that are above your TV in the bedroom space. And then right down below, you do get your little fridge. Pull on the handle, that'll open up that guy. The controls for that are right here. Obviously, the 7th setting is going to be its coldest setting. And then all the way down below, it's going to be its warmer setting. You got a little freezer area up top in case you want to make some ice cubes or keep any ice packs cold. Right below the fridge, I'll make a note that right there, this is going to be the main furnace output for the unit. It's going to push the furnace will move all its air through this little output here. So if you want to get a little fan just to try and move the air around a little bit better, you could. And then on this side, you got your main converter. It's also your breaker panel, so whenever you break your trips, you'll just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it, and all your corresponding fuses will be on this side here. And then you get the battery disconnect switch. So with the battery disconnect switch in the on position, the batteries are connected to the unit. If you were to turn that to the off position, the batteries would become disconnected from the unit, and in addition to that, it does disable most of the 12-volt system inside. So if you ever get inside here, you're trying to turn your lights on, nothing's coming on, but you know you have power. Just make sure that that battery disconnect switch isn't in the off position. Up top, you got your air conditioner. It's always a good idea to pop these screens out of place every once in a while. This is going to be an intake screen here, so just giving it a blow out some compressed air. If you notice it's getting real dusty, it's going to keep things flowing all that better. And it just unpops and pops into place just like so. You got the louvers, so you can control which way your air blows, whether you want it to blow more this way or more that way, towards the ceiling or towards the floor. You can decide. And then you come into your little kitchen area, pretty standard, except you got your gas range. Now, because you have that gas range, you got your LP detector right here near the ground. Because it's equipped with gas, you have to have that inside here. If it does start going off, don't panic. Just turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit, open up some windows and vents and get some fresh oxygen inside of here. Now coming to your stove, whenever you first get to your campsite, I always recommend firing your stove first thing. It's just to make sure that that system's already purged, because once you turn the system off at the front or disconnect one of the bottles especially, air makes its way in, and once air makes its way in, it does have to be purged out. Again, just the quickest, easiest way to do that is by using your stove, because you get to decide how long you run the gas for and how many sequences you try and light it. If you go to try to fire up your water heater or your furnace before the system's purged, it could get a fail to light code if you don't know what it means. It could throw a little frustration in your weekend. So just come to your stove first thing. But of course, because it's gas, being safe while doing so. So if you are running that gas valve on, making sure you hit that sparker every few seconds. It's just gonna allow that gas to light as soon as it's coming through. Because if you had a failure to do so and you were to have a buildup of gases, there could be a minor combustion. You don't want that. So just be safe whenever you are using it. But again, if you just turn it over to the high option, hit that sparker, it does fire right on up. Of course, it fired up pretty quickly today just because I had the system running earlier. Sometimes it could take a few minutes, so just be patient with it. On the wall here, you are going to notice you have your awning control. Push and hold that out button. The awning outside starts making its way out. This awning will automatically stop once it's at its full extension. Stop. So once these arms are at their straight position, you're at your full extension. Now you can take these arms out here, kind of gotta pull them out of their holder, slide them out like so, twist it around so that you're able to turn them down, and then you got the clasp on this side, and you can set your height you wanted it. Once you found the height you liked, you got that peg down below, you can peg into the ground, and it would hold its own. Unlocking it, and allow it to come back down. And then to put it back into place, you're just doing the complete opposite. Twisting it, making sure it's twisted the right way. And that should allow you to go back into place here. And then making sure that it is locked into place properly, like so. When you go to bring it in, that way it doesn't bind on anything. And then it's just as simple as hitting the in button to bring it in. Awning's going to start rolling its way in once the awning contacts the slot it's desired to sit in. The motors will automatically cut out. All done. Now, aside from the kitchen, opening up this door here, you do get access into your bathroom, and it's a one for all. Light switches on the far right, lights up. You got your toilet, your shower, everything located in one. It's pretty standard inside of here. If you look above your head, you get this vent lid clockwise to open it right up. And then you can turn on that fan to evacuate any sort of steam or anything that's accumulating. But just keep it in mind, you do open straight up into the atmosphere here. So if you want to get a max air cover, it's going to stop any rain from getting inside of here in case you forgot it open. And it's also going to protect you a little bit better against hail in case you ever encounter it. If you'd like to get set up with that, again, just contact your parts department. They'd be more than happy to help you out. Now you're into the rear bedroom space. Pretty standard. You got storage all around. On the wall here, you get the second vent lid, which is the one in the kitchen here. It is worked electronically, so if you push that power button once, it turns itself on. It's going to turn it onto the slowest setting first. You got 3 more settings after that for higher speeds. Again, this one's the same thing. You could use a max air cover. just contact our parts department and we'll be more than happy to help you out. You can manually open or close that vent to your desired height, but if you hit that fan off button now, it's going to automatically close the vent lid and turn the fan off for you. Then to the left of that, you do get your thermostat for the unit. So this is going to be how you fire up your air conditioner or your furnace. Push the power button twice to go into your mode setting first. Turn it over to the cool option, hit enter. Now you get into your different fan speed options. Now I always recommend having that auto there. That's meaning it's an on-demand system, so it'll kick in and out as needed. The room's currently 23. We have it set to 21. So once it hits 21, it'll automatically kill the air conditioner. If you had the fan setting on either high or low without the auto there, that fan on the air conditioner is going to run continuously until you actually manually turn it off. If you want to go into the furnace setting, push it again, go into your mode, switch it over to heat. That's going to kill your air conditioner, fire up your furnace. Your furnace only has one fan speed and it runs continuously until you were hit 33, and then it would fire down. But just keep it in mind, whenever the furnace does go to turn off, it runs for an additional 3 minutes after, just to allow itself time to cool down as an added safety feature. Push that button again. A really cool feature Coleman has is they got the cool plus heat option. So depending on what you have your room set to, it'll decide what it kicks in, whether that be the air conditioner or the furnace. But it's going to be very important that you're in the auto setting for this to operate properly. Then one more time after that, you get a dry setting, which is just a dehumidifying mode to try and take as much moisture out of the air as possible using the air conditioner. And then one more time after that to fire everything off. Now, other than that, in your bedroom, it's kind of standard, minus the fact that under here, you're going to get where you access all your plumbing goodies. So I'll just move these cushions out of the way quickly. You get that trap door here. If you pull up on it, slide it over. Beautiful thing about Intech is they lay everything out so nicely. So you got your water pump. These two guys over here are going to be your two low point drains. So I always recommend emptying those guys out whenever you're not using the unit for a while, so water doesn't go stale or stagnant. And of course, at the end of your winterization process, that's going to be another thing that wouldn't hurt to crack open to allow a majority of the antifreeze out of the system. And now for winterization, first actually, we should go over the fresh tank drain. So you got this valve back here. This has to be open for water to flow to your water pump at all or to drain. This is going to be your fresh tank drain. Cracking that guy open, it's going to drain all the water out of the fresh tank. Now for winterizing mode, you're going to be closing this valve because you're not going to be wanting it to suck any water. Closing this one, opening this one so that you're at your bypass hose now for the jug of antifreeze. Take your cap off, stick this into your pail of antifreeze or jug of antifreeze. Run all your lines and then just reverse it. You'd be closing this. I would leave this closed for the duration of winter, opening it back up in the summertime. Now that is pretty much it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.